Hey, welcome back to Jay's Retro Toys and Games, and it's time for another episode here. Season 5. It's incredible to be back for another season of diving deep into the plastic, the pixels, and the pure nostalgia of our childhoods. To kick things off this year, we are traveling all the way back to 1980. The Cold War was chilly, the hair was big, and the world of home sports simulation was virtually non-existent. And if you wanted to experience the thrill of athletic competition on a television set, your choices were painfully limited. You could play Pong, or you could play Pong with a green background. Home video games were in their absolute infancy, trapped inside the technological sandbox of the Atari 2600. The concept of a sports game that actually captured the sweat, grit, and drama of real-life athletic competition was a distant dream. Then came the Renegades, 4-star programmers frustrated by corporate anatomy and a lack of royalties, fled Atari to form the world's first independent third-party video game developer, Activision. And they had a singular mission to prove that games could be more than just abstract lines and squares. They wanted to bring the raw fury of professional prize fighting straight into the wood-paneled living rooms of suburban America. The result of this ambitious dream was boxing, a cartridge that would forever change how kids beat up their friends without getting grounded. So, we start our look on a series of Activision games on this June 11th, 130 episode of Jay's Retro Toys and Games. Thursday, June 11th, 2026. We're in Season 5. It's our second show, and this is episode number 130, and I'm your host, Jason DeCanio. I hope you're enjoying your summer as much as I am, because we are now not only continuing our series with the NES accessories, but we've gotten a whole bunch more suggestions from our wonderful subscriber, SusanFit47. But we're also now taking a little bit of a break, and every other episode, we're going to look at an Activision game, a cartridge. And today is no doubt one of the interesting games called boxing. And that's our topic for tonight on this June 11th, 2026, ready to go with episode number 130. Now, the game was designed and coded by David Crane, a legendary programmer who would later achieve gaming immortality with Pitfall. In 1980, Crane faced a monumental challenge, compressing the entire sport of boxing into a minuscule 2 or 4 kilobytes of memory. To put that into perspective, a single modern smartphone photo uses thousands of times more data than the entire boxing game cartridge. Because of these extreme hardware limitations, Crane had to get creative with a visual design. The game adopted a bird's-eye, top-down perspective. 2 blocky figures, one white, one black, stood inside a stark blue square representing the ring. There were no ropes, no turnbuckles, and no referee to break up a clinch. The fighters themselves looked less like Muhammad Ali and more like human-shaped Tetris pieces with extended rectangles for arms. It was a game so graphically primitive that if you required your imagination to do 99% of the heavy lifting, then if you squinted hard enough, it looked like a boxing match. If you didn't, It looked like two digital salt and pepper shakers aggressively nudging each other. What boxing lacked is visual fidelity, and more than made up for in raw, unadulterated tension. The audio design was a masterpiece of minimalist sound engineering. There was no energetic crowd noise, no bell ringing at the start of the round, and no commentator hyping up the action. There was only the low, warm hum of a cathode ray tube television, punctuated by two distinct sound effects, a low-pitched beep and a high-pitched boop. And we're going to play some of that sound effect for you right now. There you have it. Simple, yet effective. Every time a boxer extended a pixelated fist and connected with their opponent's face, the game emitted a sharp electronic chirp. The opponent's head would briefly flash white to signify impact, and this basic audio feedback loop turned the game into a hypnotic rhythm. A successful match sounded like a crazed digital alarm clock going off in a microwave. It was simple, it was repetitive, and to a generation of kids fueled by sugary cereal and Saturday morning cartoons, it was the most exhilarating sound on earth. Playing Activision's boxing was an exercise in pure psychological warfare. The mechanics were deceptively simple. You used the standard Atari joystick to move your fighter and pressed the single iconic red button to punch. And because there were no complex combos or special moves, victory relied entirely on positioning, timing, and an incredible amount of button mashing. This simplicity gave rise to the most devastating, ethically bankrupt strategy in early gaming history, the corner trap. If a player could successfully maneuver their opponent into the top or bottom boundaries of the screen, they could pin them against the invisible rail, and once trapped, the dominant player would ruthlessly jam the red button, unleashing a relentless flurry of identical punches. The score counter at the top of the screen would rapidly tick upward, 45, 46, 47, and while the helpless victim could do nothing but watch their digital life slip away. The corner trap destroyed childhood friendships, tore families apart, and caused countless siblings fistfights on living room rugs across the nation. It was a tactical maneuver devoid of honor, yet entirely legal within the digital rules of the ring. Activision didn't just sell games, they sold a lifestyle. And they understood that high scores deserved high honors. So if a player possessed the thumb stamina and strategic cruelty required to score 100 points or more against the computer before the 2-minute timer ran out, they achieved a legendary status. They didn't just win bragging rights, they became elite. To prove your victory in the era before internet leaderboards and automated screenshots, you had to follow a strict analog ritual. You had to run to the closest, grab the family Polaroid camera, and snap a physical photo of your glowing television screen. You then mailed that blurry photograph to Activision's headquarters in Sunnyvale, California. A few weeks later, the mail carrier would deliver a physical, embroidered fabric patch designating you as an official Activision King of the Ring. And for an elementary school kid in 1980, wearing that patch on your denim jacket was a badge of honor far more respected than a Harvard diploma. And it proved to the entire neighborhood that your button-smashing thumb was a lethal weapon. For me, this isn't just a piece of gaming trivia. It is a core childhood memory. Long before I was hosting this show, I was just a 4-year-old kid sitting on the living room floor at my aunt and uncle's house in Queens, New York, completely captivated by that glowing screen. I would sit inches away from the heavy tube television, gripping that stiff Atari joystick, completely lost in the chaos with just the two of them watching and cheering me on. I would mash that single red button and watch those blocky fighters flail at each other, laughing until my stomach physically hurt. Looking back at it now, everything about that experience was spectacularly beautifully retro. The sound effects were so gloriously primitive, just a barrage of harsh electronic bleeps bouncing off the walls of a queen's apartment. And even the blurry curved television screenshots we saw in magazines at the time screamed 1980s. There was no high-definition smoothness, just raw pixels, scan lines, and static electricity that would make your arm hairs stand up if you got too close. It was pure magic. And it cemented my lifelong love for retro gaming right then and there. Today, the gaming landscape is unrecognizable compared to the world of 1980, and we have photorealistic sports simulators, motion capture technology that tracks a fighter's every sweat drop, and virtual reality headsets that put you directly in the ring. Modern boxing games feature complex career modes, physics engines, and hundreds of controller inputs. Yet, all of that high-tech wizardry still struggles to replicate the pure, unadulterated bliss of Friday Night 46 years ago. Activision's boxing proved that great gameplay didn't require millions of colors or symphonic soundtracks. It just required 2 players, 1 button, a fiercely competitive spirit, and a tiny handful of memory. It remains a timeless monument to the golden age of video games, a time when a simple beep and a boop were all you need to become the heavyweight champion of the world. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to kick off this brand new season with me. And whether you grew up mashing buttons on an Atari or you're discovering these vintage classics for the very first time, I appreciate you sharing a piece of your day with me. If you love this trip down memory lane, please make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on everything we have dropping for Season 5. Until next time, I'm Jay. Keep those joysticks clicking and keep your retro gaming spirit alive. We'll see you on Tuesday of next week for episode number 131. Till then, good night.